पेशेंट्स आके हमें बोलते हैं कि यू नो डॉक्टर आई फील इमोशनली एग्जॉस्टेड, आई फील लाइक 500 tabs are open in my mind.
How do I set boundaries without even feeling guilty? Most of the Gen Zs go through this problem and we need a real solution to it.
आपने बहुत ड्यूरेशन तक एंटी डिप्रेसेंट्स दे दिए, येट आपका मूड बेटर नहीं हो रहा है, आपकी सुसाइडल आइडिएशंस बेटर नहीं हो रहे, यू टेंड टू सी एवरीथिंग नाइसली posted on the internet and Instagram and so on and so forth. So it brings in deep down that feeling of loneliness and abandonment also. I might have 10 people in my phone list, but none of them is connected to me, neither do I talk to anyone. I'll still feel lonely. अगर सामने वाला इंसान गुस्सा है और इफ दे आर हैप्पी और वट एवर देयर इमोशनल कंपोनेंट इट इज़ डिफिकल्ट फॉर द पर्सन टू अंडरस्टैंड द डेप्थ ऑफ इमोशन. तो अगर आपको दर्द होता है तो एक तो फिजिकल पेन होता है और एक उसका एक इमोशनल कंपोनेंट होता है. यू कॉन्स्टेंटली फील सैड एंड लो, यू फील लाइक क्राइंग एंड यू डोंट फील लाइक डूइंग एनीथिंग. कोई काम आप 2 घंटे में कर लेते थे, नाउ इट इज टेकिंग ऑलमोस्ट 6 hours एंड स्टिल आपका एफिशिएंसी उतना नहीं आता है.
Hi, my name is Aishwarya,
Hi, I'm Dr. Angelika.
and today we are diving into something that matters a lot to Gen Z: mental health, relationships, identity, and also just simply navigating life in a world as fast as today. Recently, we put a poll on Dr. Angelika's Instagram asking you all to put forward the questions which really go on in your mind and which trouble you. The response was incredible. You all shared everything from anxiety to ADHD to sleep struggles, procrastination, addiction, and even questions about neurodiversity. So today we will be taking through those questions and Dr. Angelika will be telling us why they happen, what actually goes inside our brain, how can we cope up with that, and how will it help us in the future. So doctor, let's go on with the first and most asked question.
Yeah.
Why do I even procrastinate on the things I actually care about?
That's not because you're lazy. That's called emotional avoidance.
Okay.
What happens in ADHD is that there is a lot of inertia. There's a lot of resistance that a person really needs to overcome to be able to do any task. People might call it laziness. Your parents might see that you're really not interested in doing this, but that's not it, right? So in an ADHD brain, it has been wired that way that जब तक बहुत ज़्यादा urgency वाला sense नहीं आ जाएगा, until then ADHD brain is not sort of wired to do it.
So that's why panic situation kicks in.
Yeah, and that's why they are very good in terms of pulling an overnighter
Yeah.
and getting the work
Doing
done.
work under pressure. as you
Yes.
say. Oh, so this is an interesting question. What is ADHD and how is it different from ADHD?
वेल ODHD कोई फॉर्मल डायग्नोस्टिक कैटेगरी या लेबल नहीं है. इट्स अ प्लेफुल कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ बोथ ऑटिज्म एंड ADHD. तो क्या होता है जब हम न्यूरोटिपिकल या न्यूरो डाइवर्जेंस की बात करते हैं तो सबको मालूम है जैसे ADHD के कुछ सिम्टम्स होते हैं, क्योंकि ये सेम स्पेक्ट्रम पे लाई करते हैं तो थोड़े से सिम्टम्स ऑटिज्म के भी होते हैं. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल इमोशनल अंडरस्टैंडिंग द क्यूज, सोशल क्यूज जो होता है उन लोगों के लिए डिफिकल्ट होता है समझने के लिए. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर सामने वाला इंसान गुस्सा है और इफ दे आर हैप्पी और वट एवर देयर इमोशनल कंपोनेंट इज, इट इज़ डिफिकल्ट फॉर द पर्सन हु हैज़ ऑटिज्म टू अंडरस्टैंड द डेप्थ ऑफ इमोशंस और टू एक्सप्रेस इट एट टाइम्स. एंड उन लोगों को चेंज जब होता है इन देयर सोशल सर्कल्स या फिर कोई रूटीन उनका नॉर्मल रूटीन है उसमें थोड़ा सा भी स्लाइट चेंज आता है तो इट बिकम्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर देम टू अडेप्ट टू द न्यू सेटिंग्स और टू न्यू चेंज. So that and other symptoms are also there. And ADHD like common presentations होता है, either the person is very hyperactive, physically hyperactive, या फिर उनका attention span एकदम 5-10 मिनट जितना होता है depending on mild, moderate या severe है. And वो करना चाहते हैं बहुत सारी चीज़ें, it's there in their head, but इतना procrastination हो जाता है कि एग्ज़ाम के end moment तक पढ़ाई नहीं कर पाते हैं या फिर deadlines, targets meet नहीं कर पाते हैं. Concentration बहुत ज़्यादा on the lower side होता है, and they get easily distractible here and there, and little bit of impulsivity भी होता है. They will not really think about the decision and they'll take the decision in an impulse. Like that.
So doctor, the next question is, why does stress give me headaches or make me feel fatigued?
Okay, that's a very
That is something I would also like to ask you. Yeah.
Yes. So what happens is that when we talk about pain, so we need to understand that there are two components of pain. तो अगर आपको दर्द होता है तो एक तो फिजिकल पेन होता है और एक उसका एक इमोशनल कंपोनेंट होता है. अगर आपको सर में दर्द हो रहा है तो आपको पेन हो रहा है. प्लस आप उसकी पेन की वजह से डिस्ट्रेस भी हो, और आप अनकंफर्टेबल फील कर रहे हो, तो वो इमोशनल पेन भी है, राइट? सो वेन एवर वी आर स्ट्रेस, तो आर हॉर्मोन्स आर डिसरेगुलेटेड, कॉर्टिसोल बढ़ जाता है, राइट? यू आर सो स्ट्रेस, यू होल्ड अप मसल टेंशन, आपका बॉडी टाइट हो जाता है, आपके जो मसल्स ऑफ द फोरहेड होते हैं वो भी एकदम टेंस एंड टॉट हो जाते हैं.
The pain elevates.
Yes, that is why there is pain, and emotional pain also manifests as physical pain. So you will feel constantly tired and fatigued, और energy levels हमेशा low रहता है. Again, cognitive symptoms are also there. You'll try to really focus on things, and आपका जो cognitive capacity है, intellectual capacity है, कोई काम आप 2 घंटे में कर लेते थे, now it is taking almost 6 hours, and still आपका efficiency उतना नहीं आता है. So like that.
So doctor, moving on to our next question. Why do I feel lonely even when I'm with friends or family?
Well, जो ये sense of loneliness होता है, it's not related to how many people you're surrounded with. It's not related to the physical connectedness. It's related to the emotional connectedness. I might have 10 people in my phone list, but none of them is connected to me. Neither do I talk to anyone. I'll still feel lonely, right? So it's the sense of emotional connectedness. It's the sense that there is somebody whom I can rely on. There is somebody whom I can talk to when I want. There is somebody whom I can spend time with, right? So there is some shoulder on which I can rely. So, and like we know that especially with the younger population and adolescents, that you know, you're on the phone all the time, and we are in the pseudo bubble where you feel connected, but that's a pseudo connectedness. That's not a real sense of connectedness. But it also brings in the sense of comparison, because you tend to see everything nicely posted on the internet and Instagram and so on and so forth. So it brings in deep down that feeling of loneliness and abandonment also.
Yeah, even like I have a lot of followers, but I rarely talk to anybody, and I just feel that they are just added over there. And if I need someone, I won't even be able to approach them when I actually need them. You
That's
know,
exactly
because
what I'm talking.
I haven't met them physically or emotionally. Also, we are not connected, so that connection is not there. It's all about that, you know.
Yeah, real connection is very
Yeah,
important.
real
That is
connection.
something you cherish over time.
And this is because also over time the phones have become so relevant and important for us that we have lost real connection, and you know, having
Not
those-
actually going out, making
actually
plans,
going out and
making the
talking.
effort of finding a place where you
or
can go
thinking
out.
about each other, except from looking at stories or liking posts and you know,
Yes.
posing or performing in a some way. But yeah, that is it. So the next question I have for you is, how do I set boundaries without even feeling guilty?
That is practically not possible. If you're gonna set your boundaries, you will feel guilty.
Yeah.
It's okay, you feel guilty, feel it, but set the boundaries anyway. Because what happens is that most people don't realize it, that they have not made the boundaries, and then when they start making the boundaries, they start feeling guilty. There is nothing wrong in feeling guilty, right? You will go through that process of feeling bad about setting the boundaries, but anyway you will have to do it. There is no way that we can
No,
bypass the
yeah,
situation.
Okay. So the next question is, why can't I stop smoking, drinking, doom scrolling, or even binge caffeine?
That's a very good question, because all of these things that you just said, be it smoking, vaping, or doom scrolling, or whatever, right? All of these things give you that micro, small peaks of dopamine, right? That gives you that hit at a very small level.
Temporary.
Yeah, so brain always tries to take the path of least resistance. So if I have to really work out for 2 hours and then feel good, might as well just scroll something for 2 minutes and feel good, right? So it just gives you that instant gratification, and then immediately you feel better. So that is why the brain is wired to take that path over something that can give you long-term gratification.
Okay. So the next question that I have is, why do I wake up tired even after enough sleep? And I think most of the Gen Zs go through this problem, and we need a real solution to it. And we also need the explanation behind why this happens. So if you could.
So that's a very big misconception that, people would come and tell me, doctor, I slept for 10 hours, doctor, I would sleep for 12 hours also, yet I feel very tired, very fatigued. So the quantity or the number of hours you are sleeping, that is not the important criteria. Is it a deep quality? Is it a deep sleep, right? Is it a restorative sleep? That is important. जिसको हम बोलते हैं, did you have a good night's sleep? So that is important. If you are stressed, if you are anxious, or if you're using nicotine, vaping, anything, right? Even if there is anxiety, or if you're using your phones too much before, there's a lot of screen time before sleeping, it can actually disrupt your sleep cycle. And it is very important. हमारे sleep के जैसे 2 parts होते हैं, एक NREM sleep होता है और एक REM sleep होता है. तो अगर उनका cycle dysregulate हो गया है, तो यू विल नॉट गो इन टू द डीप स्टेट ऑफ स्लीप, जो NREM स्टेज 3 होता है, जिसको हम डीप स्टेट ऑफ स्लीप बोलते हैं. सो इवन इफ यू स्लीप फॉर लॉन्गर ड्यूरेशन, आप सुबह उठोगे आपको टायर्ड लगेगा, यू विल फील दैट माई माइंड वॉज एक्टिव थ्रू आउट द
Mind was
नाइट
active.
even if I was sleeping, or you would get a lot of dreams, right? You'll wake up feeling very exhausted and anxious. It kind of feels very heavy when you get up. Yeah.
So, would you give one advice to the people who are struggling through this? How would they?
So first of all, it depends on what is the underlying cause. But like I said, the most common addiction these days is the one that we have in our pocket,
Yeah.
which is phone, right? So the screen addiction is something that is sort of easy to give away, because that is something that you will not even realize, and you'll end up using 1 hour screen before sleeping. So that is something that we can start with. And caffeinated beverages or energy drinks or nicotinogic or vaping or whatever that is, those things can definitely get away from your daily schedules. That's when you might have a better sleep.
But the next question we have is, what does neurospice mean, and why do people use it?
Again, neurospice is a very non-diagnostic, it's a playful term.
Yeah.
It's, I would like to call it, it's like, it's not a defect, right? Being diagnosed with ADHD or being diagnosed with autism, that's not a defect. So it's like a dish, and you like a dish in a certain flavor, I like a dish in a certain flavor. So it's like a different variant or a different flavor of a dish.
Yeah.
It's not a defected state of mind. So that is, it's a playful term, and you're trying to highlight the various variants and spectrum of people that exist in this whole universe.
Yes.
So it's something to sort of reframe the differences rather than labeling them as diagnostic entities.
How do I know if I need medication for ADHD, anxiety, or depression?
Well, first of all, you don't have to self-diagnose. If you think there is some problem, you are facing any kind of difficulty, be it excessive anxiety, feeling restless, or you're having panic attacks, or your mood is constantly low and sad, so much so that it has started to impact your social life, your occupational life, your work life, your personal relationships. Even let's say you're not taking that step of taking care of your physical health. If all the areas of your life are started to get affected, that is definitely a good enough reason that you should visit a mental health expert and get it checked, and that let it let the mental health
doctor
expert
do
take
the-
take the decision.
So, can ketamine therapy actually help with depression or PTSD?
Yeah, so it is a well-known established fact that whatever cases of treatment-resistant depression जो होता है, treatment-resistant depression क्या होता है? आपने बहुत ड्यूरेशन तक एंटी डिप्रेसेंट्स दे दिए हैं, डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज ऑफ एंटी डिप्रेसेंट्स ट्राई कर दिए हैं, सारी मेडिसिन ट्राई कर दिए हैं, येट आपका मूड बेटर नहीं हो रहा है, आपकी suicidal ideations बेटर नहीं हो रहे हैं, you constantly feel sad and low, you feel like crying and you don't feel like doing anything. That is when IV ketamine therapy is something that really does wonders, brings up your mood, mood feels elevated, you feel energetic, आपका suicidal ideations भी immediately काफ़ी लोगों में better हो जाता है. So it's sort of something that really helps.
Okay. How do I handle emotions even when everything feels overwhelming?
So most important thing, you don't have to react immediately.
Yeah.
Just sit back, relax.
That is so hard.
Pause. Right? Regulate yourself. That's when you understand yourself. That's when you respond. You don't have to immediately rush into just reacting out, right? Just take a deep breath. Just take a moment. Talk to yourself. Maybe have a sip of water. Just ground yourself. Just understand, where am I? Where am I sitting? Who all are around me? 5 sounds that I can hear around me. 4 colors that I can
Like
see around
distract
me.
yourself.
Just bring yourself back to where you are. Just ground yourself. That's when you can. So it is very important that first you regulate yourself. If the intensity of your symptoms are high, it's almost impossible to regulate yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So you do it that way.
Okay. Okay, doctor. So moving on to our last question. Why does my brain feel like it's running a million miles per hour?
Well, there could be a lot of reasons for that. If you're emotionally exhausted, like patients आके हमें बोलते हैं कि doctor, I feel emotionally exhausted. I feel like 500 tabs are open in my mind. I just can't make
That
myself
clutter
to
is
do
there.
anything, right? It could be because of ADHD. It could be because of anxiety. Sometimes it could be manic episode also. So जैसे एक patient आता है, वो हम लोगों को बोलते हैं कि मेरे दिमाग में 500 चीज़ें चल रही है at the same time कि मुझे ये भी करना है, I need to do this also, I need to get this done as well, right? And I am constantly ruminating, I'm constantly thinking about it, and I just
कुछ
can't
हो नहीं
shut
पाता.
myself.
Yeah.
And they literally say that. No, one patient came and told me, doctor, I wish मेरे पास एक switch on switch off button होता
off
मेरे दिमाग के लिए, just so that when I really wanted to switch
Even
off, I
when
could switch it
try
off.
to sleep, you know, 1,000 thoughts are there, and it's like, what
And
am
it's
I
not
doing?
stopping.
Yeah, it's not
And
stopping.
that happens even when you sleep.
Sleep, yeah.
Your brain
so
will
that is why we
constantly
also
be-
get nightmares and, you know, panic attacks
Yes.
at night, you know.
Yeah. So if it is because of underlying anxiety, just maybe talk to yourself, talk to a near and dear one, a friend. If there is something which is bothering you, try to see what is that one thing that you can do to fix that issue. If it is because of ADHD, then make sure you visit a mental health expert, or if nothing really works, then just go to a doctor
Yeah.
and talk it out.
Okay, doctor. Thank you so much.
I'm really glad that people have come up with these kind of
Yeah.
questions, because usually लोग hesitate करते हैं. More than that, कभी-कभी लोग समझ भी नहीं पाते हैं that this is what they are going through. And it's really nice that they have come up with these questions, and this is something that people commonly relate to. I hope with these conversations that we are making around mental health issues, people will become more aware, and it can sort of help them to navigate their own challenges.
Yeah, so this is the most special thing about Gen Zs. If we see a problem, we try to tackle it, and we come to people like you. Thank you so much for joining us today, doctor.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Great. I hope all your doubts are a little clearer now. And if this conversation resonated with you, just don't hesitate. Make sure you DM us or reach out to us, because taking that first step is very necessary. Till then, take care of your mental and emotional health.